From an accidental stumble into an MMA gym, to becoming the first Mexican-born UFC champion, this flyweight fighter's path has been a roller coaster of victories and defeats, yet it is nothing short of inspiring. Known for his relentless pace, technical prowess, and unwavering determination, Brandon Moreno has captured the hearts of fans worldwide. Join us as we unravel the highs, lows, and undying spirit of the Assassin Baby. A story of resilience, redemption, and the pursuit of greatness in the octagon. Born on December 7th, 1993, in Tijuana, Brandon was a huge boxing fan, so much so that he paid little to no attention to any other combat sports. But one day, after searching through his hometown for a boxing gym, he came upon an MMA gym and began training in kickboxing and jiu-jitsu. Moreno's early career in MMA wasn't phenomenal, but it was a good start nonetheless, as he showed immense potential of becoming an MMA star. He made his debut on April 30th, 2011, against Atik Jihad when he was just 17 years old. I mean, let that sink in. The guy already had more focus and discipline than the majority of men at that age. Throughout his first 6 professional fights, he would alternate wins and losses, before putting together an impressive 8-fight win streak to garner attention from the major MMA promotions. A pivotal turning point in Brandon's career came when he signed on with the World Fighting Federation during his run. It was during this 5-fight stint with the promotion that earned him a spot on the reality show, The Ultimate Fighter Tournament of Champions. His ability to choke opponents out was on full display, as he would do so against his first victim, Alex Contreras, at WFF 14. In a bout which lasted until the 3rd round, Moreno snatched up a triangle choke to get the victory. Up next would be CJ Sullivan, which marked the Assassin Baby's flyweight debut and first title fight. In just under a minute, and a rear naked choke later, Brandon had become the WFF flyweight champion. His first successful title defense came opposite Matt Betzold, a fighter with only one leg. Then Brandon went on to defend 2 more times against Tyler Bialik and Isaac Camarillo, submitting both opponents by rear naked choke in the first round, before moving on to the 24th season of The Ultimate Fighter. Getting on the show was one thing, but the Assassin Baby's challenges were far from over. Despite being a champion, Moreno found himself ranked the lowest among the 16 flyweight champions gathered from organizations around the world for the show. In the first round of exhibitions, Brandon fought the current UFC flyweight champion, Alexandre Pantoja, who was coincidentally ranked first. The fight didn't end well, as he tapped to a rear naked choke in the 2nd round. Although Moreno was eliminated from the tournament, he still landed a spot with the UFC. Making his debut on October 1st, 2016, the Assassin Baby stepped into the octagon to face Louis Smolka at UFC Fight Night Lineker vs. Dodson. Entering the bout, Louis was the crowd favorite, but Brandon proved that he was ready for the big stage. Despite some early takedown struggles against Smolka, Moreno turned the tables with a well-executed guillotine choke, forcing the tap.
Whoa! Brandon Moreno! Then the Assassin Baby, Moreno!
A couple months later, the Mexican fighter would throw down against Ryan Benoit. Throughout the fight, Moreno connected on the majority of his strikes, and also found success with his takedowns. By the end of it, he won a hard-fought split decision.
Ooh, nice left hook there. Again, though, when you see
Decision, Brandon, the Assassin, all smiles, the Assassin Baby.
Riding an impressive 10-fight win streak, Brandon faced Dustin Ortiz next at UFC Fight Night Swanson vs. Lobov, displaying his superior striking and relentless pace. After sinking in a rear naked choke on Ortiz, it didn't look like he wanted to tap, and we all saw what ended up happening.
catch guys sleeping, you can slip it under the chin, engage in the clinch. He was able to do so, make the adjustments.
Moreno! What a parry! By submission.
Moreno was given his first main event in the UFC, facing off against Sergio Pettis at UFC Fight Night 114 in Mexico City. Despite his best efforts, Brandon was unable to land the more impactful strikes on Pettis, and after a few rounds, Sergio had outstruck him, winning via unanimous decision. With this defeat, the Assassin Baby's formidable run came to an end. Moreno was then given a rematch against Alexandre Pantoja for his comeback, but fell short once again, as he tried to take the cannibal down but was unsuccessful, after which Pantoja picked him apart, handing him a second loss in a row.
A clean performance from the Brazilian.
Cannibal Alexandre Pantoja.
Although Brandon was nowhere near done and showed a lot of promise, the UFC decided to cut him from the roster after his first ever 2-fight losing streak. This resulted in Moreno signing with the Legacy Fighting Alliance and immediately fighting for their flyweight championship. His opponent was Michael Perez, whom he TKO'd, securing the victory and the LFA belt.
To steal the title away from the champion. Beltran warning. Perez over and out.
Oh, Bobby.
New LFA flyweight world champion, Brandon the Assassin.
Moreno's performance quickly launched him back to the UFC. This time, with an even more insatiable hunger for the UFC belt and determination of becoming a mainstay with the promotion. Brandon was focused on leaving a lasting impression for the fight fans. His return to the UFC will be against Askar Askarov, a fight which ended in a controversial split draw, even though the Assassin Baby connected more significant strikes, including a knee which dropped Askarov in the second. With no easy fights ahead, Moreno was given another chance, and it would be in the form of contender Kai Kara-France at UFC 245. Both fighters exchanged blows throughout the fight, but in the end, Moreno appeared to secure rounds 1 and 3 in his favor, solidifying a unanimous decision win.
Viendo bien esas propuestas que son predecibles de cara afuera.
Uy, qué bien, eh. Qué
Brandon the Assassin Baby.
Following this fight, Brandon went on to win back-to-back against Jussier Formiga and Brandon Royval, giving himself a nice little 3-fight winning streak, which granted him his first crack at the title against Deiveson Figueiredo at UFC 256. In a Fight of the Year candidate, both fighters were at each other's throats for the full 25 minutes. The crowd witnessed a spectacle to remember. Figueiredo would land a nasty low blow to Moreno, resulting in a point deduction, which played a huge factor on the judges' scorecards. The fight was so competitive, as Brandon kept the pressure on Deiveson till the last second of round 5. If it wasn't for the point deduction, the result may have ended differently. However, the decision read as a majority draw, and an immediate rematch would take place 6 months later at UFC 263. The second time around, Moreno was better prepared. His relentless pressure started from the opening bell against Figueiredo. This sense of urgency rewarded him with a knockdown, and even reversing Deiveson's takedowns to gain the advantage. This continued into the third round, when Brandon brought the fight to the ground again. Sensing that Figueiredo was starting to fade, Moreno worked his way onto the back of his opponent and cinched a rear naked choke, making history as the new UFC flyweight champion and the first Mexican-born champion. The Mexican champion's first title defense was supposed to be against Alexandre Pantoja, but the matchup fell through, leading to a third fight with Deiveson Figueiredo. In an unexpected turn, Moreno lost the trilogy match. Amid a fallout between Figueiredo and the UFC, an interim title fight was put together, pitting Brandon up against Kai Kara-France again at UFC 277. Moreno looked stellar, as he was able to pull off a TKO before time expired in the third round.
And now, the new interim UFC.
The stage was set, and we had a fourth meeting booked in Brazil to unify the titles between Deiveson Figueiredo and Brandon Moreno. Their fight at UFC 283 would ultimately decide the winner of the rivalry. Moreno's striking was on point while fighting in a hostile environment, and as the third round ended, Deiveson had a busted eyelid dripping like a faucet, which caused the cage-side doctor to step in and call the fight.
Moreno lands. Look, he hits him with the knuckle. He hits him with the thumb, and then he does touch him on the face.
And now, the undisputed UFC flyweight.
With one rivalry ending, another one was waiting. Enter the cannibal, Alexandre Pantoja, at UFC 290, their third encounter. Pantoja would become his Achilles heel and outstrike Brandon while mixing in his grappling skills, on the way to handing Moreno another loss by split decision.
By the champion. A left hook lands for Pantoja. Another lead elbow lands.
Brandon now seeks to reclaim what he's lost, and in this journey of redemption, he does so with a rematch against Brandon Royval, headlining UFC Fight Night on February 24th in Mexico City. Moreno thrives in the octagon, employing a fast and exciting pace. From the beginning of his career, Brandon has shown remarkable ability to excel on the ground with his jiu-jitsu, top game, and defense as well. Even if he's taken down, Moreno has continually found a way to reverse, scramble out, and for the most part, stay out of trouble. Moreover, what's inspiring is Brandon's mindset towards his career. Win or lose, he views everything as a step towards his success. To be honest, Royval is brave for jumping in as a late notice replacement for Amir Albazi. He lost the first time they met in the octagon by TKO, so it'll be interesting to see what kind of adjustments he's made to prepare for this fight. Like always, be sure to tune in on February 24th for UFC Fight Night to see what happens.